And, oh, here we go. Device is not connected. Well, we are live, and we have got Wyatt Holliday with us, and we are just now adding Peter Gilmore.
Hey, good evening.
Peter, we were just talking about you a little bit.
Sorry, I was in a meeting, and you know what, people could talk. Sorry, I'm here.
Yep. Just in time.
Oh, it's not a problem. I was asking him, I was like, he's in a meeting. It's like 1 a.m. over there. Who's he meeting? A drug dealer behind the Costco or something?
Oh, no, internet meeting to America. There you go. I live on Eastern Standard Time now.
Oh, yeah. So,
he just goes into he's just got the casket laid up against the wall, and he just goes into the casket when the sun comes up.
Well, this being Saturday, this is the day I actually get to my local comic shop, and I thought, before we delve into it, let's just comic geek out a little bit. I'm going to go through some of the stuff I picked up and some of the rumors that I'm picking up from retailers who are connected and in the know. Just for the people who visit the website, let you know what reviews you're going to be seeing coming up. We're going to have the Crisis on Infinite Earths #2. Now that the event is over and done with on television, we're going to get a little bit more of it. Which
is that based on the TV?
Yeah, there was a bookend. Some of the adventure actually happens in the comic book. It doesn't happen on TV. Felicity doesn't show up at all in any of it, but she's referenced off screen. I'm thinking there was a contract dispute of some kind with her, but they can use her character in the book, so that's where they had her. Got the Dollhouse Family #3 from Hill House Comics, which is DC Comics, but it's one of their black label imprints. One that I've never seen before called Barbara the Barbarian #1.
Okay.
From Amigo Comics. That's one of the things you'll see I do is I pick up these, who the hell ever heard of these people comic books. I got Kids with a Z 1 and 2 from Ablaze Comic Books.
All right.
They do.
All right.
And Tomorrow #1 from Berger Books, which is a Dark Horse imprint. That's Karen Berger. And basically, I picked her up because I was kind of, wanting to add a little karma to her name, so maybe she gets picked up as the publisher to replace Dan DiDio over at DC Comics. She was my #1 pick in our little prognostication we did online.
Oh.
But I'm now hearing that they're not going to replace Dan DiDio. We're just going to let Jim Lee run it. And that kind of gets into, I don't know. Have you guys heard any rumors from your LCS guys about all this DC business going on?
No, not at all.
Not really.
Okay, well,
I go to my LCS I buy supplies there, but a lot of and I go pick up trades and stuff sometimes, but a lot of the new books I get online.
Well, you'll still be able to get trades. From what my LCS guy is saying, the rumors going around that in the retailer network is that if Generation 5 fails, then DC is going to basically go the graphic novel route. They won't have comic books anymore. They're going to close everything down. And Marvel has said if DC does that, we go too.
Wow.
Okay.
So there could be no comic books.
Wow.
That's
very near future.
No floppies.
Well, I don't know. I've got a little.
It's sad, but it probably needs doing. I don't know. I don't. To be honest, I don't really buy into the big too much anymore. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's for me anymore. I'm more into the indies these days.
It doesn't have the appeal. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm
thinking
more
about writing a little parable or fairy tale. Okay. What are you excited about, Peter?
I'm just more excited about making comics nowadays. So
Yeah, absolutely. And there is this. I've always said that this whole indie crowdfunding movement is is a renaissance in the comic book industry right now, because you've got all these new ideas and all these new books coming out, and I liken it to like, you've heard the expression, you can't see the forest for the trees. I liken the industry to, you can't see the forest because there's these two giant trees that are overshadowing the whole thing, that just grow around it. And I'm thinking, if one of those trees falls and tumbles into the other giant tree, it doesn't necessarily take the industry with it, but it reveals all these other smaller trees that nobody ever saw before.
Yeah.
And that'll be what's in the store. You can go into the comic store and you can see, wow, who are all these people making comic books anymore? I thought the comic book industry died with DC and Marvel. So, fingers crossed. That's maybe
I feel
hopeful.
that, if Marvel and DC, if that happened, all the people who still like comics aren't going to disappear like Thanos showed up. So, I agree with that. It's a good take.
Well, and certainly the people who love making comics, now that they don't need to get a job at Marvel or DC, will continue doing what they do and doing their own distribution like you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And why? I know why you got into it. You guys love comics. You guys are like me. But what prompted you to get into it? I mean, I don't know if there were, I always ask people, were you making comics before and then crowdfunding came along and like, oh, this is the answer to a prayer? Or, some people saw the crowdfunding thing and then suddenly got interested in making comics because they're like, hey, that's something I could do. Let's give it a shot. So where do you guys fall in that? Were you doing it before? Did you do it after? Somewhere in the middle?
You go first, Peter. I'd like to hear this.
Me? Okay. I was just working in like illustration and fine art and commissions and things like that. I did graphic design, various bits and pieces, and just started getting really kind of disappointed with the way comics were going. Like especially the big two. It just, like I say, it wasn't really for me anymore. It didn't seem like it was. And I kind of followed things on the internet and eventually discovered, like Comicsgate. And I saw these people like helping each other out and trying to build something, trying to bring back the kind of comics that I used to love. And I thought, well, why not? I mean, when I was much younger, I always wanted to work in comics, but it never happened. So I decided to make the jump over to comics. And it seems to have worked. Seems to be doing pretty well so far. There was a misfire at first on the first comic I started working on. That didn't work out. But then I worked on the Case of the Littlest Umbrella with Umbrella Guy. And so my first proper foray into comics was like $100,000 campaign, which was nice. And sort of got my name about quite a bit. Lots of offers to work with different people came in, but there was stuff I wanted to work on of my own sort of thing, I fell in with Mandy Summers and Wyatt, and there was a few comic ideas I wanted to do, and me and Wyatt kind of clicked, and we both had the same kind of tastes in comics and TV and movies. And we just started kicking out ideas around and settled on Rocket Gal. I mean, there were other ideas, but that was the one that got both of our imaginations going.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's where I am at the moment.
Okay. Wyatt, how did you get into this comics mess?
I actually learned how to read with comics, so I've pretty much been reading comics forever. Around 3 or 4, something like that. And I think the first comic script I ever tried to write was like an Iron Man script when I was in about the 6th grade or something like that. And I'm sure it was terrible. Yep. My mother probably has it, but I'm sure it was terrible. And it was always just something I always kind of wanted to do. the right age in high school when, of course, I grew up on Spider-Man, Hulk, that kind of thing. Got into DC a lot more when I was probably a teenager. And, I was in high school and it was the right time when Image was new. So it was just perfect timing for my age group. And, yeah, man, that got my friends and I got some, got our imaginations going. And we started, playing around, making our own characters, making our own comics. We always played, D&D and things like that. So, I mean, it was pretty easy to, make our own guys and play around and stuff. And then, I went to college and all that. And a few years ago,
learned all the stuff you need to survive.
Yeah, yeah. So then, I can't draw anything. So I've always been, pretty good writer. And a couple of years ago, I was working on a book. It was actually going to be a fantasy novel, and I had built the world and everything like that. And I started working on some of my characters, and I thought, man, this would be really fun to do as a comic, and now might be a great time. And I had been keeping up. I had been keeping up with Comicsgate stuff on YouTube. I had never really interacted with Twitter. I never had a Twitter account, and but I kept up with it on YouTube, and I was keeping up with what was going on with your boy Zach and all that stuff, and Mark Wade, and I just it was just everything aligned at the same time, and I was like, well, I guess if I'm going to start interacting with these people, I need to make a Twitter account, because that seems to be where they do a lot of the networking and getting to know each other and everything, and the rest is history, man. Huh?
It's either your rise or your fall coming onto Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, Twitter.
And I'd started, we had started working on Ardonna Zero, and then so a good portion of the book was finished before the campaign launched. It just worked out that way. I didn't really know, how everything was going to go, first campaigns and all, and then, campaign launched. I had no YouTube channel, 300 followers, and I actually did pretty well. A lot of friends, a lot of people I met, the community, obviously the Comicsgate community is freaking wonderful. So, a lot of friends helped spread the word as much as we could.
If you only have 300 followers, but each of them has 3,000 followers, well, that it spreads the word out.
Yeah. So I was just, pretty unknown. Me and Mandy always joke with Peter about, you never had to be hungry like us. And, but I'm like, we joke that we were Tiny Tim to his Scrooge. And, cause when I was new, Peter's going around talking about the case of the littlest umbrella, promoting that. So it was, just cool. It's cool the way everything's worked out. And, of course, Mandy came to CG not too long after I did, and she was one of the people that I ended up talking to a good bit. And then I think it was through Mandy that I really started talking to you, right, Peter?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, we had talked some before, and we talked about the Cthulhu Tarzan a few times, a long time ago.
Yeah,
but
and just like the odd public thing on Twitter. I kind of, Mandy was doing Walk the Wizard, and there was a few people doing covers for it, and I was just like, I'll do a cover for you. And so I started talking to Mandy, and then, me and Wyatt started talking more and more about doing a comic. Yeah.
And then for Rocket Gal, like Peter said, we started, we had many conversations about sci-fi B movies and, classic movie serials and things like that, like, Buster Crabbe, Buck Rogers, that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Flash Gordon as well. And so, the conversations just kind of led up to it. So
when you talk about learning to read off, it really strikes a chord in me, because I did the same thing. We had I grew up in Sparta, Illinois, with you younger guys here. That's where every comic book in the world used to be printed in the 70s and 80s. There were no, this was before the direct market. This was when it was all newsstand, and no newsstands carried them, because if you worked at the comic book plant, World Color Press, you just brought them home at the end of the day, the overruns and the print runs. So my comic shop was local yard sales, and people that my dad knew who worked there said, let's go see if they got any new comics. But I would get them from my barber before kindergarten. And I've still got not the same copy, but the first comic book I can remember reading, an old Superman issue where he's hanging onto the U in his name in the title, and he's being sucked into the earth, and he's giving the reader a warning. And that just stuck with me the whole time.
Awesome.
But I never told anybody that I could read. So I got into first grade, and the teacher's always reading these big placard things that she's holding up to teach the class, and I'm just going zipping through it, and I'm looking down because I'm total ADD, like, should I learn to tie my shoe while she's finishing up this card? And she got right down in my face and saw I was not paying attention. She says, would you like to read to the rest of the class? And being 6 years old, sarcasm was new to me. So I just looked up and said, plants make energy through a process called photosynthesis, in which they absorb sunlight into cells called chlorophyll. Because I'd read The Flash, and he fought the Pharaonic Man, and Batman fought Poison Ivy, and they talked about this stuff all the time. I knew these words. So, shoved me up into second grade, where all the kids who got to beat me up at recess got an extra hour of the day to do the same thing. Fun times. and now, today I'm writing away. Self-plug time. I am the writer on Remo Williams' The Destroyer series. I'm the author of Bully Pulpit, Continental Divide, and the latest one, Monumental Terror, all starring Remo Williams, who was played by Fred Ward in the movie in the 1985 picture. And of course,
that's awesome, man.
Oh, I love Remo Williams now. I really didn't know who he was other than the movie. Wasn't into the book series, and I got into it late. And we were doing this book review site, with movie reviews and stuff. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, you're going to review the new Destroyer book?" I'm like, "What? Drax the Destroyer has a book now? What are we talking about?" That's me, comic book geek. I'm so comic book geek, guys, that when I typed the header to this video, I had to backspace to spell holiday because I'd spelled Wingfoot. It just came out.
Oh,
naturally.
funny.
Why Wingfoot? No, wait, he's in Fantastic Four.
I wish I did. She-Hulk.
Which one?
Oh man, that's not any of the not the recent version, man.
But yeah, I got into it, reading it, the new one, and then all of a sudden there's like this call for submissions from fans for a fan anthology. I'm like, well, this is the right time. I had my first book published through a British outfit called Telos that did all the Doctor Who books, and I had
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Okay, well, they published my first book, Alice's Journey Beyond the Moon, which I have within reach here, and then I did a second book with them. They were publishing Doctor Who at the time, and then the BBC wanted the license back. So what they did, because the way the UK copyright laws work, is you create something inside of a product or inside of a license, and it's yours. So they created these two new characters inside the last Doctor Who novel they put out, and spun them off into this series called Time Hunter. They were like the Wonder Twins. One was if they were both thinking of the same thing and they physically touched each other, they traveled through time to that place. So I got to write the next to the last book, and I said, well, this can be the next to the last one. I'm going to make it as hard on the next writer as possible. So I split them up. I'm like, okay, you got to bring them back together to finish the story up. But for fan anthology for the Destroyer, I'm like, well, okay, I'll just throw something out there. And I threw out all the characters of the Destroyer universe and all the characters of this very non-trademarked, dark, gothic city that had this vigilante that dressed up like Dracula and drove a really super souped up car, and just had them interact. And they took it, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" It's hey, we really like what you did with this. It seems like you got the voice for the characters down. I'm like, that's nice. Do I get a copy of the book? I'm like, yeah, you get a copy of the book. How would you like to take over the series for a while?
Oh shit!
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, go on then.
But that's me. We're here to talk about you guys and the book, Rocket Gal and the Mole Men of Mars. So my first question is going to have to be, who is Rocket Gal? And before you answer, you're not allowed to say, she's not the gal you think she is at all. Oh, no.
Okay. She's a rocket girl.
Yeah. She's burning out her fuse up there alone?
Huh?
Yeah.
That verse nobody understands when he sings it. She's burning out her fuse up there alone. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Go on, Wyatt. Who's Rocket Gal?
Rocket Gal is by day she works for the Intergalactic Space Command, and in secret she's Rocket Gal, the adventuring space vixen, I guess you could say.
Yeah, savior of the galaxy.
Yeah, and
in secret because her disguise is kind of not one.
Oh yes, it's very Clark Kent.
Well, I mean, come on, Clark Kent and the glasses.
Yeah, yeah.
Very loose dress code in the office there.
Yeah.
To go ahead and get that out of the way, yeah, the book is rather tongue in cheek. It's is it what you guys would call cheeky, Peter?
Cheeky, saucy, bit saucy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
you know. It's an adventure story. It's it's fun. Some action. It's action adventure. We don't really. There's really not any slow time.
No, and it even though she is scantily clad, etc., it's not. It doesn't rely on that. That's not the. It's the story that's important. It just so happens that we've got a hot chick wearing not much clothing.
There's precedent for that, and I'll just say right now that I hope you guys are super successful with this, because just from what I've seen, first of all, I've always wanted to see one of the successful CG books or indie books, whatever title truly encompasses all this Indiegogo self-publishing, whether it's CG or not CG. I would love to see something get recognized and interacted with one of the larger publishers, and I think that. I think Dynamite is friendly and open to that kind of a thing, and I would love to see you guys have Rocket Gal and Barbarella.
Oh, yeah, because they've got the license for that, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
they do. Yeah.
Or at the very least, get a special cover.
Right? Yeah.
Like Ethan did.
If you're listening,
get
Nick,
one of those Rocket Gal Barbarella covers.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, as soon as we start making tons and tons of cash, they'll notice.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
As soon as we're diving in it like Scrooge,
no reason,
But to be honest, if I had a chance to actually draw Barbarella, I don't think I would. I think I'd stick with Rocket Girl, to be honest. I'm of that mind. If someone said to me, "Do you want to draw Batman?" No, I don't. I want to draw my thing. I want to draw our thing. We don't want to,
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Not even in a crossover.
Well, yeah. I could do that, but Barbarella would never outshine Rocket Girl.
I'd like to do. If we're gonna be talking about hypotheticals like that, I'd like to do freaking since they have that too. I'd like to do Rocket Gal and the Burroughs Mars.
Deja Thoris.
Yes, exactly, Deja Thoris.
Yeah.
So,
she just crossed over with Barbarella, so
she did. Yep. Yeah.
So they're doing that kind of stuff.
And to be honest, the way we've
let's get Rocket Gal.
Yeah, the way we've got the world set up, the kind of the universe set up with Rocket Gal, we can take her anywhere at all, any time, any place, anywhere.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of hard science.
No. A lot of the science comes down to the answer is comics.
Yeah, our version of science ends with an exclamation point.
Yeah. How does
I can breathe on this planet?
How does she breathe? Yeah, well, this is it. She can breathe in space. How does that happen? Comics.
Yeah, science.
Don't question it. If you're questioning it, then go and read her
because She's
a science book.
alien.
Yeah, I mean, the same way people swing from buildings and summon demons and things like that. So
exactly, it's comics. She's wearing a very almost skin tight, invisible spacesuit that has its own air supply inside of it. So there you go. It's able to recycle carbon dioxide into oxygen, and she can just breathe for hours and hours and hours, and not even get cold.
That's right. Sometimes she gets a little cold.
Oh, really? Now she's a little nipply out there, huh?
Depending on how Peter feels, temperature may drop.
No, we never. Well, you'd never know, would you?
No, I don't think we have. Have we?
What?
No. Never mind. Yeah, no, she's got the necklace.
She's got the necklace.
Other lady.
Yeah,
you may be able to tell. You may be
the evil lady, the queen of the mole man.
Yeah.
And if you want me to share any images, I can do that.
You're perfectly welcome to. I won't do it because if I share images on this machine here, I will crash it harder than a drunk driver into a telephone.
Okay. So if I go to there and share screen, that one, and boom. So this.
The best I did was I had a rocket I was going to hang from a piece of fishing wire right about there the whole time that my kid made out of Legos, but he hid my fishing line somewhere and where it's at. The stream.
So here we have this. This is I drew this a year ago. And when we were first talking about what to do, and I said, well, I've got this thing I drew. And this is kind of where she, although at the time she was called Rocket Girl, but there's already a Rocket Girl, so
So Rocket Gal was born.
Rocket Gal was born, which also helps because she's from the south. So
there you have it.
I mean, we're not going to say the south of where one day it might turn out she's from the south of Venus, but she's it could be anything. It could be anything.
South of Venus. Okay.
Wherever she's from, it's the south of that.
And,
Planet Dixie.
Planet. Yeah. And then we can jump to. I mean, I can show something that no one's seen yet. I could do that.
Please do.
This folder. My hard drive is just full of folders with like names of different projects and comics, and then there's 10 folders in each of those.
Yeah, I feel
it's like where did I save that? Oh, there we go. Now this isn't finished yet. This is me working on a variant cover. So let's drop that in there. Are we getting that?
Oh, that is very lovely.
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, I need to add more stuff to it. I need to add like some menacing things and whatever. But yeah, this is because we wanted someone. Well, I don't know about I wanted a certain person.
I was on board with that.
Yeah, I wanted a certain person to do a variant cover for us, but he's a very, very busy man, and he apologized and said he'd be more than happy to help us out in the future. But for now, you're getting a main cover by me and a variant cover by me. So, but actually, this is
like seeing the dog. I like dog.
This is Booster. That's Booster.
Yeah, that is her loyal companion, and he goes with her on her adventures. It's kind of like Space Lassie, is what we call him.
Yeah. Like
so
kind of crypto-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the white.
Crypto was my favorite as a kid.
See, a lot of my design when it comes to designing things, I like to take a lot of familiar things and put them together, so that when you see it, it's something new that you're seeing, but you're like, it's familiar to you straight away. It's like, oh, I recognize that. It's like Rocket Girl. That it's Barbarella, but it's not. I mean, and this one, I might be a bit Jane Fonda-ish, a little bit, but this is a variant cover, so
a little bit.
It's not. It's not Jane Fonda.
Style.
Yeah, it's not Jane Fonda.
The body style and the way you do curves is reminds me of I want to say Ralph Bakshi, but did Ralph Bakshi do Cool World? I don't know.
Yeah, but Ralph Bakshi would be an influence, yes.
I don't know, but he did Fire and Ice, right?
Yeah. And Lord of the Rings.
Did he do Fire and Ice? No, I'm lost.
Yeah, he did. He did Fire and Ice.
Yeah, okay.
Fire and Ice, Lord of the Rings, Wizards, and a few other
Wizards, yes.
Yeah. Wizards is one
did
of the
Mighty Mouse before the
but this actual design for Rocky Girl, this was the original one was that sort of sketch one that you saw, and then she kind of evolved to this. And I always liked this one, but she's evolved further than this now. She's more cartoonish.
Yes, he did do Cool World. I just looked.
All right, there you go. But yeah, this is I love this look for her.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I
like the hairstyle on this.
Yeah, it's slightly different than than how it is now. So we can drop from that.
Yeah, I keep seeing Rocket Gal and others with the double ponies, and I'm like, the first time I saw that obviously was probably Sucker Punch, but in seeing that design for Slick Jimmy's
project, it's not actually ponies. It's a fringe. It's weird.
Okay.
It's weird. It's
I don't do hair.
It's out of this world. See, I mean, and here's we've got the main cover. This is the actual main cover.
Yep.
So yeah, fringe. And
I like those. Those are the mole men now, Mark.
Those are the mole men. Yeah,
those are the mole men.
In the background, we've got the queen of the mole men. It's cold in space.
They kind of remind me of the rats. They remind me of the rats in Bone.
I could kind of see that. Yeah. They remind me a little bit of we make holes in teeth.
Yes.
You know the old Crest commercials.
Yeah,
I do.
And I love it. That's one of the things I love about them. They're like, I think like when you see them, they remind you of something, and it's not always the same thing for I guess everybody. And
nobody's ever mentioned where I kind of got the influence from. It's Clayface.
Right. Yeah.
I can see that. A little shaggier than Clayface. If Clayface got together with Warner Brothers.
And I mean, the influences on the art style and whatever, they come from all kinds of bits of sci-fi. There's kind of like we were saying, the old sort of serials and stuff, and then Barbarella's a big influence. But things like Space Ace, the old video game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Space Ace, Dragon's Lair,
all that kind of stuff. Which I mention him every time, but that was animated by John Solastri, who is a really nice guy that we had on Mandy's show to talk to one night. He's got a book out on Indiegogo.
I've been meaning to talk to him and get him on the show.
Oh, you should do. He's a really nice guy, and he's animated everything you remembered, like from
like the old He-Man. Oh, dude, I mean. The Ichabod Crane cartoon from when we were kids.
Yeah. He-Man's close to my heart because if you guys go to the website, criticalblast.com, just dig to the interview section header. I got a really long interview with Lou Shimer.
No.
Yeah. And there's the audio podcast in there. If you don't want to read it, you can just hit play and it'll play it all out. But Lou, I got to talk to him about 2 years before he passed away. And it was, I kind of made him tear up a little bit because, I was just trying not to be this totally geeky fanboy. And we were talking about all the different cartoons he'd done. And he talked about how they'd won an Emmy for Star Trek that they had done. And he's like, I didn't want the Emmy for Star Trek, even though I loved what we were doing on Star Trek. I always thought that, Fat Albert should have won the Emmy for what we were doing with inner city kids and getting messages out. And I told him, I said, like every other guy my age, I grew up with Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. And about 10 years prior, I was going in for surgery first time I'd ever gone in for surgery. I was telling him, and I said, while they're wheeling me down the aisle and they're getting ready to put the anesthetic on me and tell me, that, I'm going to wake up in a couple hours, said, in the back of my head, the Junkyard Kids were playing "Don't Be Scared at a Hospital," and it just, you could hear the catch in his voice when he's like, that had that long of an impact on you that you were able to take comfort, as it were, in a song that you learned from a cartoon all those years later. And I was like, yeah, it was always stuck with me. So everything you did.
Man, cartoons used to be entertaining and teach you something at the same time. And I mean, you could, there's a lot of takeaways from He-Man, even G.I. Joe and such. So, I mean.
Oh yeah. They always ended with the moral of the story kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. In today's story, Jimmy lied about, where he hid the chicken. Lying is bad, and because he hid the chicken, that Man-at-Arms wasn't able to cook the royal dinner. Sorry, guys.
Okay. You don't understand. Last time I saw you guys was on Mandy's show, and if you're going to talk about hiding a chicken, everything you guys say on that show can be taken so many different ways.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is serious, us man.
So yeah, I'm deadly serious at all times.
Yeah.
Cool.
No,
this looks very much like the Jetsons.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
This looks like the Jetsons.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yes. Like I say, influences come from everywhere, and this is one of them. The Jetsons. In fact, the intergalactic space command is a building taken from the Jetsons. This building here, just to pay tribute to where all this stuff comes from.
Yeah, that's a little shout out to the Jetsons.
Little shout out to the Jetsons. This is obviously Earth. And why is everything floating on a platform in the clouds? Comic books again.
What lives down? Something may live down there. We don't know.
It's something may live down there. Something, yeah. This is true.
We reanimated all the dinosaurs. We had to be taller than them.
Yeah. I mean, is this even Earth? Is this floating in a glass ball in space? Who knows?
Yeah.
But
it does look very cool. We like it's of course everything's pretty retro. Little shout outs like that.
Oh yeah. And I mean, some of the things, some of the thought processes going into designing things. So I was saying to Wyatt the other day, there's a particular scene where they're looking at some monitors in a room, and it took me. I did about 12 designs before I landed on one that was. It looked sci-fi, but it looked like it was made in the 1960s. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the vibe we're going for. Everything's set round about the 60s, 70s, but it's the future. Weird.
Yeah. This is like the future as imagined in the 60s, probably.
Yeah. Like the old World of Tomorrow kind of things. Yeah, exactly. The atomic.
Exactly.
This is it. And I love this stuff. Everything needs to be called either it's a space something like Booster's a space dog, or atomic engines on the space rocket.
Our names and titles for things are intentionally, on the nose. So
yeah.
So
exactly. And
did you ever see the worst movie ever made?
So did you ever see what? You broke up there.
Did you ever see the worst Christmas movie ever made? Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
A long time ago.
Wow, yeah, many moons ago.
Yeah,
I don't remember a lot
my
about
favorite
it.
atomic age film. But again, the names were all on the nose. There's like the king of the Martians was named Kingmar, and the Martian mother was Momar, Durmar, and Bomar. I'm like, I think I can break the code here.
Love it.
But yeah, like everything's. I mean, you've got the Queen of the Mole Man. It's like it just screams Flash Gordon, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You said you got a room full of monitors.
There is a scene. There is a scene, but I'm
it's
not
like a
showing
conference room.
Yeah, no one gets to see that yet.
It's like a conference room, but
it's like, I mean,
there's view screens.
This is her spaceship for when she's going long distance where she can't just fly through space with Booster. She takes the spaceship, which is literally it's literally how a child would draw a rocket, probably, or
exactly
how a rocket would look in Flash Gordon.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of 50s style Flash Gordon there.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. And it's funny because, obviously neither of us were around when the Buster Crab, Flash Gordon and all those were new, but I mean we grew up on them somehow anyway.
Well, over here they were like Saturday morning TV. Before there'd always be like a big sort of kids do something almost like a variety show, but for kids, that kind of stuff. They'd have those over here. But before all that came on, because that'd go on for like hours through the morning. Before that came on, you'd get, a couple of old cartoons like Secret Squirrel or whatever. The Banana Split. Banana Splits would be on, and then you'd get like a Flash Gordon or a Tarzan or a,
Lone Ranger.
Lone Ranger. Oh yeah, Lone Ranger, Champion the Wonder Horse, all that stuff.
Yeah, that was kind of like Sunday afternoon here. You would get stuff like that. And
Well, Sunday afternoons we used to get the TV stations over, because there was only like 2 TV stations or 3 at the time. Yeah, because I'm old.
Yeah, we only had 4.
Yeah, so we'd get a lot of weird TV shows from like Europe. So they'd be like French and Italian and whatever, dubbed really badly. So we get like the Three Musketeers, and all the mouths moved and the words were wrong, and it was all horrible and really kind of cheesy 70s and 80s European music, very strange. But we get that kind of stuff on a Sunday. And maybe Columbo.
I always watched the Japanese monster movies when I was a kid, and I was always noticing, hey, their mouths don't match the sound coming out. And it had to be explained to me. It's like, well, that's because it was done in Japanese, you little idiot. And there's Americans talking over it, and it doesn't work the same way. I'm like, oh. And then when I got older, I got to watch some of the originals, Gojira, and it was all in Japanese. And I looked at it and said, the mouths still don't match the sound coming out. What's going on here?
Yeah. There's a comedian over here, and he's a bit of a smarty pants kind of thing. He goes over to France and he'll do stand-up shows there because he speaks French fluently, and then he'll go to Italy and do them, far too clever for his own good. And he does, in one of his acts, he does like a really, really good James Mason impersonation. And he'd go over to France and it just fall flat every time. And he'd go to Italy and it'd fall flat. And then someone pointed out to him, he's dubbed over here. He doesn't sound like that. Yeah. And it took him so many performances to realize why his jokes, he thought, well, maybe they don't know James Mason. Maybe the joke's just bad over here. Yeah, no, it's because he doesn't sound like that. But you kind of forget things like that, I suppose.
That's funny.
Yeah, I would imagine. So
yeah, we get a lot of
kung fu. This book is going to launch on the 11th of March.
It is, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, a little look at some of the crew, some of Rocket Girl.
So there's Captain Crunch and Robbie the Robot.
Yeah. And Green Alien Chick. And Tentacle Monster.
Yes.
And Green Alien Chick. Looking for Captain Kirk.
A little advert.
I want the calendar.
Space Boost 2020. If we really zoom in on the calendar there, March the 11th, Rocket Girl. March the 26th, Pirate Queen from Clint Olinsky and Mandy Summers. There you go, Pirate Queen. See, I think of all these things.
That's what I was going to say when you said there was a big... yeah. That's why I want to see what's on all the monitors.
Oh, yeah. This is me. Just because it's a cartoony style doesn't mean I'm not going to fill it with, there's going to be things for people to see, things to find, I mean, I didn't draw too much there, but anyone who's just played a video game knows what they are.
Like people are used to seeing the detail that Peter puts in his trees and his dinosaurs and the other things they've seen him work on, but
pages that take 4 days to ink because there's every vein of every leaf of every
But here, like a lot of the details are in all the things that are happening.
Yeah,
and it's
just like little random things like that. You go, a can of beer tipped over, and I can't remember. Oh yeah, it's called Space Ale. There you go.
Because it's space, so it has to be Space Ale.
It does.
Absolutely,
it's
of course.
It's the future. Everything's called space something. They probably watch space TV.
It's the future of 1995.
Of course.
I'm just kidding. It's really not. But it's really not 1995. But
yeah.
I'm putting even money that I'm going to see a little umbrella girl on one of them monitors.
Well, you never know.
Never know what you'll see.
You never know. I'm just, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
Might see a copy of Cyberfrog sat on the desk.
Yeah, the security guard reading it.
Oh, there's our lady being all sultry.
Okay, I want that print right there.
Oh, that's just
so I won't do that. But,
So, yeah.
So when this goes live on the 11th, what are people getting? I mean, let's talk about the physicality of the book. Are we talking about a 22-page? Are we talking about an 80-page?
At this time, go ahead. You can go ahead, Peter.
No. You can do this one.
At this time, as the as the campaign's kicking off, it will be 24-page full color and all. Peter's doing all that. So 24 pages color. We may have a stretch goal at some point that adds pages, things like that.
Pages or adds a second story or whatever.
But we thought for the first book, might as well not make it too, we're gonna see what we can do with 24 pages. Yeah, too big.
Especially with us being a small team, it's like this. I'm doing all the art, Wyatt's writing, Mandy's editing. So
and what are you looking at for the first buy-in? Is this like a baseline $25 book, or is it going to be $15 or $30?
It's we need to work a few things out before we can.
There are some things we're figuring out because because we're figuring out our perks and everything still. We've got some places left to put some things, and tier for the book by itself probably be around 15 if I had
it's not we're not going to charge 25 for 24
page book, right? Writing
and drawing comic books is fun, but soon you get down to the money, suddenly it's a business and you got to think about stuff. And
absolutely.
But
a lot of fun out of it.
So 24 pages, self-contained. So the whole story's there. Each book, if this works well, subsequent books will, they'll have different titles with their own story. It might be Rocket Gal and the Zombies of Venus, for example. But we have a pretty funny list of titles, and that are workable. And
Space Werewolves from Planet X, and
Yeah. So, some of it's going to be outlandish, but always fun. And, that's what we're aiming for here. Man, we've got quite a few really nice perks. I think Peter went crazy for a while doing some sketch cards.
Oh, yeah. Because, people like original artwork. They like to buy original artwork. And not everyone can afford to pay, $300 for a big page. So we're going to do a bunch of sketch cards just so people can have some original art, for a low price.
Cool. So you have to stay alliterative.
I've kind of spent days and days just drawing these little sketch cards. So, and they're all different characters on there, and
yeah, it's very cool.
Sketch cards are always a fun thing to get.
Yeah, and then for the original artwork, tiers, depending on how much time, because as soon as the campaign ends, as soon as it's all ended, you know, we want to get it off and printed as quickly as possible. So all the book's going to be drawn, and what I'm doing is taking pages, because I'm drawing it digitally and coloring it digitally and all that, just for speed, really, and because it kind of suits the style.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be like the black lines you see on the images. I can turn them to blue lines, print them out as pencils, and then I'm going to traditionally ink a bunch of pages. Not, you know, there's only going to be one of each page available. And there's some pin-ups. We're doing some pin-ups as well. Well, I've done them already.
Yep.
So if people want original artwork, it's going to be there as well. Like, you know,
Yeah,
Bristol,
we'll have
archival ink on Bristol board, everything people want from a comic page, you know, an original comic page.
Well, now that you got Mulman of Mars, you got to stay alliterative with the titles. That's going to be expected. So, you know, you got to have the Vulture Vikings of Venus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The plundering pirates of Pluto.
Yeah, man. And I can't reveal the spoilers yet because there's only like a couple of things left to put in place to make it official. But if things go as we're thinking it is, our top 2 tiers are going to be crazy.
Hell yes,
crazy. So
can't wait for that.
Top couple of tiers. It's going to be things that you're going to want to own.
Yeah.
Because I want to own them.
I know.
You know? It's like some of the coolest things.
Yeah.
Let's keep saying things.
Yeah. So I mean, I hate to just tease like that, but man, we're definitely we're not overselling it. It's they're gonna be cool.
Are we talking with other artists to throw things in here?
Oh, cooler.
Yeah.
Cooler than that.
I would say cooler.
I would say cooler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because I'd really like to see a whiskey pal.
I mean, we've got a few people in mind for things like that.
Yeah, we do have.
I don't know if we're going to do that stretch goals. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to do them stretch goals or if we're just going to, you know, ask and then put them as tiers. I mean, we're what, a couple of weeks away now? No, 10 days away now.
Yeah, we're a little less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a 30-day campaign or a 60-day or?
We're going to start as 30, see what happens. If we need to extend it to 60, we will. But
but we're going to be upfront about it. We're not going to like do the bait and switch saying, you know, oh, the campaign's ending.
Yeah, we're not going to get to 29 days and be like, only 1 day left. And I mean, you know, it's get it now or you'll never get it again. And then, you know, we just renew. I mean, you know, no. But, you know, the plan is to do 30. I really don't see we still have some other things to work out there as well. But I really don't. I'm pretty confident we'll hit our goal. And so, I mean.
Yeah.
Is the goal
we have some
announceable?
It's still, you know, still in the works.
Yeah.
But,
we're waiting for pricing on a couple of special things, the special tiers.
Gotcha. We got Miss Mandy in the chat. Hello, Mandy. Thank you for popping over here.
Hey,
what's she doing here?
Why are you in the chat? What's going on?
I thought she had a stream going.
Well, she's welcome to join this one, but we're almost over here in 6 minutes. But or we can keep going. I mean, I've got nowhere to be, but you know, Peter probably likes to sleep sometime.
No, I don't be silly. I don't sleep. I never get to
sleep. What was it? Edgar. I always quote Edgar Allan Poe as like, you know, sleep, those little slices of death. How I despise them. And I had a guy who I worked with who was older than me. He says, you know, for some reason, I really like sleeping these days. I just, you know, I said, that's your body preparing you for death. It's like, Yeah, Oblivion, not bad, is it? You want some more of that, don't you? Right? Yeah, we'll work on that thing. Quick shield before we move on to another topic here. Critical Blast is more than just a website of reviews. We have branched out into becoming a publishing arm, and we have, yes, we are a publisher. We have our first anthology that came out last October. Oh yeah, you can't see anything here. There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
This is Gods and Services. This is the trope of the little shop that pops up and disappears when you need to go back desperately. Gods and Services. Right, cool. It sells little niche knickknacks and tchotchkes, and each one of them has a god attached to it. So that god is now bound and determined to make your life better, whether you want it to or not. We have stories in here from Ira Bloom, who has written for Scholastic, Hearts and Other Body Parts. We have Laura J. Campbell, John Della Roz is in here, David J. Peterson is in here. I'm in here, but I edited the darn thing, so I got to have something in there. And then more recently, from last October, we have our hardcover young adult superhero novel. This is Bulletproof Origins by Stephen J. Mitchell. This is about a high school kid, 16-year-old Cody Mitchell, who wakes up on his 16th birthday to find out that he is bulletproof, and decides that, hey, cool, I'm going to become a superhero. Unfortunately for Cody, he's got the attention span of a ferret on pixie sticks, so he has a focus problem. And he also has a band of terrorists who are after him because they'd really like to dissect him and find out what makes a person bulletproof, because whatever makes you bulletproof also makes you bomb-proof, and they can become a lot more effective. So it's a very humorous book, but it's a very action book. Both of these are available on Amazon. Links are in the description below. Also, very first link in the description below is the link to Rocket Gal and the Mole Men of Mars. So right now we can go there and click to sign up, be notified when this goes live. It's March 11th. Don't tell anybody. But you'll get an email saying, hey, come give money, so that you can come and give money, make this thing happen for these guys, because this is some very cool art. I've truly loved what I've seen here. And I'm going to be getting in the backing of that one. I have not backed a lot of books. I backed the first Jawbreakers. I backed Cyberfrog. And then it was sort of a wait and see kind of thing. I backed one book. I'm not going to say what it is because I backed it a year ago and I haven't got it yet. And I don't want it to sound like I'm one of those, where's my damn book kind of guys. Arch City, yes, the party is here. You're just in time to, kind of help clean up the solo cups and help the drunks get home. And then I backed the Everglade Angels. I backed that. And then I recently backed Common America. So that's a kind of, I'm all over the place. There's so many things to back. I wanted to back Littlest Umbrella, but we were moving from Texas back to here, and I'm still like thousands of dollars in debt from that thing. So buying, $30 comic books was not on my agenda at the time, unfortunately. I keep telling myself, I'll get the back issues. Oh, damn it. They're crowdfunded books. I'll hit eBay. Somebody bought 2 copies of this because they wanted to make money off of me. So that'll happen. So Rocket Gal.
Sometimes you miss graveyard shift.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you missed graveyard shift the first time around.
Yes, but sometimes you can get it the second time around, because it turns out if somebody makes a second issue, by golly, they had first issue still laying around that you can buy with a special tier.
Yep.
And if not,
so it works out
like with Ardana Zero, for example, when the next book launches, I'm not going to just leave people who didn't get it the first time out in the cold. So there would be, a new version or whatever the case may be.
Now, I was going to talk about Ardana because I want to know what that's about. I've seen the pictures. I've seen the title header. I don't know what she is. So,
oh my gosh, this takes me way back to like the early days of pitching a book. Ardana, it's a fantasy series, more sword and sorcery than high fantasy. So it would be something similar to a Conan the Barbarian. I'm a big fan of Robert E. Howard, Edgar Rice Burroughs, of course. Barsoom Mars, that is totally my thing. So it's highly influenced by both of those things. Like I said, I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons growing up. Would still probably play if I had time, but there's no time. And
no.
So it's a sword and sorcery world. She is she's a traveling warrior in search of her missing father, who disappeared during his quest to rediscover their stolen birthright. He was an adventurer himself, so he traveled the world as adventurers tend to do, and in this time he found things that led him to believe that his family, that they were the rightful rulers of this particular place, and but he disappeared in recent years. Huh?
You always disappear when you discover that.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like the perils, man. The perils of discovering family secrets, right?
Yes.
And so yeah, she's looking for him, and that is where our story begins. And issue 0 was 24 pages, full color. I'm the writer. I was not the artist. I can't draw a convincing stick man. And as you know, the story 0, I made it issue 0 because it mainly serves as an introduction to the world and the characters, and so we introduce Ardonna, some of the major players that are going to be in her crew of people, her major supporting cast, and then our first villains that will be coming up. So it's it came with we hit some of our stretch goals. The funding goal, I decided to make a goal for when we got funded. That was the first stretch goal, so to speak, and that was a map, detailed map of the region that would be added to the book. So we hit that one. The map turned out that Peter's seen it. And a lot of people, we're delivering right now, so a lot of people have gotten them. A lot of people are getting them now, and so it's been cool to see them showing that off. But yeah, the map, got a bookmark, 2 stickers, and a 6x9 print of our first villain. And
very cool.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we're delivering right now. Very good campaign. Like I said.
And Peter here.
Especially for someone,
Peter,
who
you're
didn't know
editing
anybody.
now.
Go ahead.
Well, you know people now, and they know you.
Yeah. I've gotten around since then.
And Peter, you're editing now. You're editing Pirate Queen for Mandy Summers. What's that like? Because
I'm not.
Background is art.
Wait. Mandy's editing
Rocket what?
Gal.
Mandy's editing Rocket Gal.
Wait. Mandy's editing Rocket Gal.
Mandy's yeah. No, Pirate Queen is nothing to do with me or Wyatt.
Yeah.
That's all Mandy's writing, and Clint's doing the art.
Mm-hmm.
On Rocket Gal. On Rocket Gal.
Oh my gosh.
I'm losing my mind on
Find out
Pirate Queen. On Pirate.
Go back Peter's book Ardonna right now on Indiegogo.
Yeah. Check out my new. I'm going live with the next campaign for Cyberfrog Wreck Planet on. No, I'm not.
Suddenly, it's the Tim Taylor controversy all over.
Yeah.
This is how rumors.
I just created Batman, and I'm doing my fit. No, I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Oh, on the internet. It must be true.
It's been a long week.
Yeah.
And it's not over
yes,
yet.
Mandy is the editor on Rocket Gal. Yes. So
so
she helps us keep it straight. She laughs at our ideas, laughs at our jokes, and then sometimes she pokes. But
what's your approach to writing? I mean, do you just kind of turn in a scene and say, "Hey, Peter, we'd like to have her, kind of spin around here and shoot a bunch of things and then say this," or do you go the whole Alan Moore, page 1, panel 1?
Okay.
She stares out the window. It
with Ardonna, that was, full script, panel by panel. That was, but Peter and I, man, we're collaborating anyway. This is our project together, and we built all this together, and so I don't like, we kind of work a little closer to what the Marvel style used to be. With more of a breakdown, pages 2 and 3. We definitely need this to happen, and it's probably going to say something like this, like paraphrase dialogue, and then I'm like, we get those things, and then Peter puts his magic on it, and has his fun with it, and because I always feel, as a writer, it's only my second comic, but I feel like it's more about it's more about telling the artist what to draw, not how to draw it. When you're conveying a script, so
be an art director when you need to be.
And and Peter kills it. He spends so long working on the designs, and he'll show me 2 different ones with very subtle differences, and I can't tell. And I'm like, yeah, they both look good, man. And but it takes the time,
it's
man.
like spot the 10 differences in these 2 pictures, and I'm like there for an hour. I'm like, I feel like like I got pictures from that guy we saw in the video who edited Waldo out of all the Where's Waldo pages, and then took it back to the bookstore and put it on the shelf. Did you see that video?
No, but that's awesome.
Some guy, he took it home, he scanned it, he showed the whole video of how he did it. He scanned the image, he photoshopped Waldo out, he printed it out, he kind of pasted it back into the book overlaying it, so it's like tissue over it, and just totally gone. Just walked it back into the store. Didn't return it. I mean, he just brought it in and put it back on the shelf for them to resell. So he bought the book. He proved that he bought it. But that's how supervillains are born right there. So but that's how I feel when I'm looking at those comic strip pictures. Like, spot the 2 differences in these 2 pictures. It's the same crowded room of nothing. But what I was going to ask, I know when you're going to start this is March 11th. When do you project that people will actually have a physical copy of Rocket Gal in their hands? I mean, if you were just spitballing, saying, we're going to start in March, we figure you'll have books in November.
Wyatt knows more about the time it takes to get these things printed.
I would say, as far as what we've discussed so far and what our schedule is looking like.
Yeah, I mean,
it's looking like Peter's saying.
Say we did the 30 days. Say we did the 30 days, and that was enough. And what do you think? I don't know.
Yeah, I think if Peter's talking, probably having us being finished, when the campaign ends. We'll probably stay in demand through fulfillment, and I guess we'll start fulfilling after it's finished. So
yes,
that'd be fast.
I mean, if it ends in 30 days and we're finished with the book, then we'll get them printed, and we'll stay in demand through fulfillment.
Yeah.
So
and I
fast.
I kind of work quite quickly.
So
I'm trying to measure now, but
probably I'd say May is a fair assessment.
Very cool. Because one of the things that you hear, one of the things you hear from the detractors of crowdfunding books, whether it's Comicsgate or not, is that it's oh yeah, you gave the money for them, but now you're never going to get your book. It's never going to come out. I'm wondering, what's the fastest turnaround we have seen now? Because you guys are talking about fulfilling within like a month and a half of wrapping up the campaign.
I think Vinny Tartamella's
Vinny's
really
pretty
quick.
fast.
Yeah, Vinny.
Books are usually finished before the campaign launches.
Yeah.
He works that way.
That's what you do. Now, because I know you usually got to pay the artist before you can even start taking the money, and you got to pay them for art to put on the website to show that you're going to make a comic book. So if you're a writer, you're almost always out of pocket several $100s already with no hope of getting that back unless the book sells. Well, I'm imagining with you guys it's kind of different because you're collaborative creators on the whole thing. It's not, Wyatt's doing a book and he's hired an artist. You guys are
Right.
in.
I mean, the way I kind of work is,
which is a lot more.
Yeah, I mean the way I work is the money I got from Case of Let List Umbrella, working on that keeps me going now until I get paid for Rocket Girl, and then that money will keep me going while I'm doing Walk the Wizard 2.
Walk the Wizard 2. That's what I wanted to talk about. Where you're going next. So you are doing a project with Mandy.
I'm doing multiple projects with Mandy this year. Walk the Wizard 2, everyone knows about. And then I'm not telling you anything about the other ones.
Okay.
Under wraps, I guess.
Fair enough.
No, very much under wraps.
Here's the thing I'm waiting for to happen. I'm waiting for somebody or several somebodies to come together under this Indiegogo crowdfunding umbrella. And I hesitate to call it Comicsgate because I think there are people who aren't Comicsgate. They're working with people who are Comicsgate, and we just can't really tell. I'm waiting for a publishing house to arise. We've seen Splatto, but Splatto is basically Richard C. Meyer. But I'm thinking that we're going to see a life form evolve out of this.
I mean, there's Allegiance. That's kind of.
It's not really. I mean, they were some crowdfunding people who, first of all, haven't delivered on their.
No, they haven't.
Yeah.
They have not. They have not. It is very disappointing.
Well, I think a lot of people in Comicsgate. I mean, one of the mistakes from one of the things I guess detractors don't really get is that a lot of us have plans. I mean, and you got to build it brick by brick, but a lot of people within CG have plans and ideas, and we all want to grow and get more eyeballs on the product, and I think such a thing will emerge.
Nobody's out there for one book, but I can see all the people who are these two people have worked on this one, but this guy who's also worked with another guy over here, and now they're all coming together to work together. You've got you guys working together on this, and then you've worked with Mandy on Walk the Wizard, and Mandy is working with somebody else on Pirate Queen. This is going to become this intertwined house of publishing. And I can definitely see that being something in the next 2 years.
Yeah,
which is a little different from Allegiant because it's not, it's going to be all the people who were crowdfunding the whole time, being a crowdfunded publishing house.
Right.
Which is different than what Allegiant is.
That's true.
I'm not sure Allegiant is anything yet. I'm playing with the rocket ship that I was supposed to be having here for a rocket, and I just looked at it straight on. I'm like, oh, it's definitely a rocket that would have been good for this because you look at it straight on.
Yeah.
It looks like it's got a boob cone on the front of it there. Now I need 2 of them. I'll hit the Lego shelf later tonight. All right. So, guys, I don't want to keep dragging you out here. I appreciate you coming on. This has been a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to get into Rocket Gal and get that one put into my funding list. I think that I think it's a concept that is going to catch on. I think there's a market for that kind of thing. This, especially if it's well done, and everything I've seen from you guys as far as the writing and the drawing in other projects has been well done. So here's to Rocket Gal, and
I
hope it's going to be a long, long time that she's around.
Hey, thanks, man. We hope so too.
Yeah, definitely.
That didn't come out all the way I wanted Elton John to say it. Thanks again for coming on, guys. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you again in the near future when this project comes to a culmination.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
See ya.
Bye.